It tore me apart. But I learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone.
Imagine being a Newcastle supporter. Now stop. I don't wish that on anyone right now. They're striking out more than me on an average night out. And I'm a spirited fella. Things just don't always work out. For a Champions League qualified, rich, historic club that recently picked up silverware, things are tough.
We don't have to sell this summer. It's all paper nonsense. You haven't got a clue.
Even their best player is trying to get out. Why? Well, a lot of reasons, I guess. Many of which are just straight up consequences of the football landscape. At the end of the day, what's the deal? Hello, hope you're doing well. Welcome back. I apologize in advance. This video is coming to you quite late at night. I've hit a little bit of a burst of motivation and I've just come back from a night out with some very questionable characters. But you guys get the very first ever drunk football iconic video. Welcome. I'm Tinashe. By the way, if you just saw a Christian Pulisic advert, I'm very sorry about that. I am working on it in the background, so you just have to watch this space from now on. But on the topic of the day, if you are a Newcastle supporter, it has been a very, very rough time for you. And before getting into the actual big details of all the rejections and the details of those rejections, I want to talk about why this is happening in the first place. Here is a quote-unquote starting 11 of Newcastle players that's been doing the rounds lately. Realistically, not all of these guys were serious prospects, so this list it's kind of misleading. I would guess that from this list there are 4, maybe 5 players that were seriously pursued from this club, not 11 or 12 like everyone's reporting. But 4, 5, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. And the reasons for this are unfortunately quite simple from a Newcastle perspective. Let's look at the clubs that have beaten them to all these players that they've been after. Man United, Liverpool, Man City. They're the main candidates for some of the bigger names that they've been after. What do they offer? Higher revenues, meaning that they're more stable as clubs and as institutions. They have higher wiggle room. Higher wiggle room year on year to be able to improve the squad. Newcastle probably have more money than all of these clubs, maybe bar Man City, but they have significantly less spending power. They have much higher ceilings when it comes to wage growth, just based on history alone. For example, Newcastle's highest earner is reportedly Bruno Guimaraes on £160,000 per week. Manchester United have 7 players that earn more than that, have significantly higher global prestige, which means a lot more than the common fan might think, especially when it comes to brand building and being able to build out your own ecosystem as an individual. Manchester United are and will indefinitely be coasting on nostalgia, but in the current day and age, players of every skill level become household names when they play for United. I'm obviously just using Man United as an example here, but the same goes for all of the larger clubs that have big established international audiences. And even more on that point of nostalgia, I'm going to use Man United again as an example because they are the most recent example when it comes to combating Newcastle. People tend to forget that we are still in the era of players that grew up only witnessing Man United dominance.
Last question for you. Who did you emulate in the playground or want to be?
Wayne Rooney, because I was a United fan younger and just used to watch him all the time.
Realistically, of the pool of players that currently exist in the current landscape, if they are 19 or 20 years old and upwards, there is a high chance that they were either Man United fans or they grew up witnessing Man United's dominance, and that imprint is still within them. And what this all comes down to is a self-fulfilling prophecy or a cycle where players choose to join Manchester United over clubs like Newcastle United because of all the reasons that I've just spoken about right now. And then, because of that, they're joining them, strengthening Manchester United. Manchester United, not Newcastle United, look like they're going to be more likely to qualify for Champions League football in the 2026-27 season than Newcastle United, which actually means a lot more to the younger player than playing in Champions League football right now, because it's indicative of a project and a wider perspective. That was a pretty deep thing to say. I just came up with that off the dome. And the real irony behind this is that a lot of people are looking at the situation with Newcastle saying that they're failing to sign players because of a perceived lack of ambition. But the real issue on their part is that they are ambitious. They're offering big money. They're willing to spend big and do the things that are necessary to get themselves to the next level. Players are just saying no. And perhaps even the biggest dose of irony is that Newcastle have made one big money signing this season. It's a Manchester United Academy graduate. And two of the players that they've been really going for and pursuing have gone to Manchester United. Bryan Mbeumo and Benjamin Sesko. Sesko was the real kicker here. The Manchester United offer came in after the Newcastle United offer and reportedly was lower. The man heard about the wildlife at Old Trafford and was sold on the project. I don't blame him. It's just business. Manchester United, on the other hand, have no European football and are at their worst in 25 years. According to everything that we've been fed, Manchester United are broke. To which I'll look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe and tell him, big man, I don't believe you. As soon as all news pointed towards Benjamin Sesko being secured for Man United, Carlos Baleba started popping up in the news. What's going on here? This man will cost Florian Wirtz money. What are they doing saying they have no money? I wish that I had no money. Like apparently Manchester United and Sir Jim Ratcliffe have no money. But that's enough with Manchester United. Goalkeeper James Trafford chose Manchester City, re-signing with his former club despite heavy Newcastle interest. And Liverpool are even worse. I haven't seen a club this greedy in the Premier League. It honestly just disgusts me. Have some shame. Already employers of Potato Man, but it keeps going on and on. Ekitike, wanted by both Newcastle and Liverpool. Liverpool is in for Isak. Newcastle and Liverpool are both in for Ekitike. Newcastle blocks Liverpool's path to Isak, so Liverpool goes ahead and gets Ekitike and then comes back and says, hey, we want Isak too. This is generational levels of hate. I know Michael Edwards clocks in here every day. I know this for a fact, but I have no proof. The recruitment right now at Newcastle United is in a shambolic state. These guys have suffered L after L after L in the past couple of weeks, and I don't know how they recover from this in this summer. I do know that they have had some upheaval going on within their recruitment team. They've had changes with their sporting director, with their CEO, and a whole bunch of other things. But unfortunately for them, they've become the meme of this current summer. But I don't want to be all doom and gloom. There is still hope for them to recover right now. Newcastle do still have other players to pursue. There's of course Nicholas Jackson, there's Johan Wissa, and that deal seems like it may have some legs. That is of course if Newcastle owners, I guess, get out of their own way. The only thing I have to say about that is what if Bryan Mbeumo gets lonely? He might want his partner in crime back. I'm just kidding. Or am I? No, I am. With all these targets not agreeing to go to Newcastle, it makes the path for Alexander Isak's departure a lot more difficult. Second best to Mohamed Salah last year in the scoring department, undeniably athletic for his frame, a really good player, genuinely brilliant. He scored 23 Premier League goals in 24-25. In March, he scored the winning goal in the Carabao Cup final against the club that is pursuing him right now, and in doing so secured the first domestic trophy in 70 years for his club. To call Alexander Isak a fan favorite would be a massive understatement. The only issue is that he is want away. He wants to go to a bigger club and he wants to achieve bigger things, whatever that looks like. And a lot of Newcastle fans have seen that and have responded accordingly. Newcastle's upper management, to their credit, do seem like they've drawn a hard line and they're not going to let their star man go for anything less than a monumental figure. The only big money confirmed signings for Newcastle United in this current window, who I might add are in the Champions League, by the way, is Anthony Elanga for £55 million. And don't get me wrong, Anthony Elanga is a great player. He had a good season with Forest. I think it was 6 goals or 7 goals and 11 assists. To me, honestly, as coming from a Man United fan, having watched Anthony Elanga go to Forest for £50 million, 1.5, and then go to Newcastle now 55, I don't think it's worth it. But I'm also that sort of guy that just thinks that players really shouldn't be worth that much money in the first place. This is not good for Newcastle. You know, they have ambition, but this is not it. They've signed Antonio Cordero and Park Seung-soo, both interesting prospects, both 18. As I said, Newcastle are in the Champions League right now and want to keep it that way. With the signings that they've done so far, I don't know if that's going to happen. But again, I don't want to be too negative. As things stand, Newcastle, they do have a strong side. Bruno Guimaraes, Bartman, Sandro Tonali, Joelinton, they do have a great team. A team that's capable of being able to beat most teams in the league on their day. They showed that last year on many an occasion, and you would hope that that confidence can carry over. The optimist in me says that if the season started today, Newcastle would still be a formidable opponent to most teams in the league. But the pessimist in me says that a lot of the clubs right now have strengthened monstrously. You know, we do this every single year in the Premier League where players come in and just seem to make the team that they go to so much stronger. But this year has been another thing. Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, all these clubs have just gotten incredible players, and Newcastle has just sat there with, for lack of a better phrase, mind my French, their dick in their hands, not achieving anything. So it's going to be a long season, and this is going to be the very last time that I make a video inebriated. So I don't know why I'm doing this right now. I may scrap it, but there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about Newcastle, about the Premier League in general. I think the next video that we have to do has to be about Man City, because I'm very interested to see how they bounce back in the next year. And that's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.